We are in the final full week of the election campaign, and seats just outside of the capital and how people vote there could tell us just how well or badly Labour or the Conservatives are doing. The last time Watford was held by Labour was when Tony Blair won his landslide in 1997. It has been held by the Tories ever since. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports from a town where dramas bring in jobs and money and where many a script will be written.
Outside Watford Junction station, one bus has longer queues than any other. Every day, hundreds of excited fans clamber aboard a double-decker to visit the Harry Potter studio tour. Just outside the town is the Warner Brothers studio complex at Leavesden, a repurposed helicopter engine factory. On any one day, 3,500 people might be working here.
This is Margot Robbie's costume for Barbie.
In front of one of Barbie's dresses, studio boss Emily Stillman is keen to talk about the impact movie making is having on the UK economy.
If we look at 2022, which was a really busy year for us production-wise, when we were making Barbie and Wonka and House of the Dragon and Aquaman, an amazing year full of production and some amazing productions happening. We attracted over 200 million to the UK economy just on the shows that were coming out of Leavesden.
At West Herts College in Watford, the next generation of movie makers have just finished their two-year course. The college has close ties to Leavesden Studios. The students are eager to begin their careers.
My parents really want me to be an actor or somewhere in front of the camera. But you know, I really want to be a producer. I really want to run the show.
I have done a bit of directing this year, so that's kind of influenced my passion a bit, but I think I'd side more towards cinematography.
Probably either to be an editor or like a director, but that's probably leaning towards editor.
For the students, this will be their first chance to vote in a general election.
I'm not really that into politics, and I just turned 18 as well, so I'm kind of learning all about it.
I have obviously seen it on television and all, but I haven't really been paying that much attention. I am of the age of voting, so I need to kind of educate myself a little bit.
I kind of recently got into it and I've been sort of getting into the election, but again, it's not really on my radar that much.
Radio made in Watford. Vibe 107.6.
Across town in another studio, Dean Russell is being interviewed by Watford's community radio station. He's been the Conservative MP for Watford since 2019 and is also proud of his links with the film industry.
During COVID, I helped make sure that we changed the film rules so that Mission Impossible could start filming and they could do film bubbles. Tom Cruise then went around the world to tell the world about the rules that we had, opened up the global film industry. That started right here in Watford and dare I say, with me pushing for that change.
Do you need a bit of wizardry to win this seat?
Well, you know what, the wizardry and magic is always good, but actually what I've been doing is the hard yards. I've been out in the community, I've delivered on every single pledge that I put forward and more.
In the 2016 EU referendum, Watford voted by a small margin to leave. The Labour candidate has detected some support for Reform UK, but says it hasn't snowballed.
I think this is a two-horse race. I mean, the reality is that for well over 100 years, there has been a Labour or a Tory MP in Watford. It's what we call a marginal bellwether seat. On the 5th of July, there will be a Labour or a Tory MP for Watford, and it's up to the people of this town to decide which of those it's going to be.
I think it's almost becoming a four-horse race. The Liberals have done very well here in the local elections, but they never seem to score on a national level, and I think that's because the turnout's so much different. You know, you go from 30% up to 60-70% in a general election, and then just we're bursting through.
I really do think that people will not be voting Conservative in large numbers this year. We actually think with the new constituency boundaries, we brought in North Bushy, which is a very strong Lib Dem area, and we've just had our best ever local election results. We took 3 seats off Labour. We think we're going into this moment with momentum, but of course it's really uncertain, but no, we think it's Lib or Lab.
The film industry has become an increasingly important part of Watford's economy, and that's likely to grow as the Leavesden studio site continues to expand. Simon Harris, ITV News, Watford.
The full list of candidates standing for election in the Watford constituency is on your screen now. Good evening. The images filmed by a witness in Tottenham are shocking and violent. A machete fight in the middle of the afternoon. They were filmed yesterday, and just hours later in Hammersmith, the Labour leader drafted in Hollywood star and anti-knife crime campaigner Idris Elba to unveil his plans to tackle it. He says he wants to halve knife crime in a decade if Labour wins. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has our report, which has images of that violent fight in North London.
Idris Elba is usually the show's star, but today he had a supporting role as Sir Keir Starmer outlined his plan to tackle knife crime.
This is going to become a real priority.
Over coffee at Hammersmith's Lyric Theatre, they listened to victims' relatives who are now high-profile campaigners.
I still live in Brixton. I can't leave because it's literally, Idris, like I'm on a battlefield that I can't retreat from.
Pastor Lorraine's 20-year-old son Dwayne was stabbed to death in Brixton in 2014.
We need to start providing more for our young people.
Yemi's son, Andre Aderemi, was murdered in Croydon in 2016.
I would like to see a proper long-term plan.
George Kinsella's son Ben died in a knife attack in Islington 16 years ago. Some of the families taking part today have supported Labour in the past, but also feel they've been failed by politicians.
It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating because, you know, we talk and we say how we feel and we say where the issues are, and then it's like we just keep repeating ourselves. We need to see change.
Do you think Sir Keir Starmer has an answer?
We'll have to wait and see. I can't answer that one at the moment. I hope he does, should he get in. But we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Earlier this year, Idris Elba launched his own campaign to try to end violence among young people.
And some of them say, listen, if there was tougher sentencing, they would be like, I'm not sure if I want to go to jail for that. They're saying that. And some are saying that there's too many loopholes. Like, even if you banned it at the post office, I could just go and get someone else's ID and do it. They know all the loopholes.
The Labour leader promised to end knife crime within a decade.
One of the families here, their son was murdered by a knife that was sent through the post from a shop, ordered online, in ordinary packaging and picked up by a 15-year-old who didn't need to show any identity. It's not rocket science. I will stop that.
More evidence of London's knife crime epidemic emerged in the last 24 hours, with this video of two men attacking each other with machetes in Tottenham.
In London, knife crime has been a stubborn and persistent problem for successive mayors and Home Secretaries. Last year, there was a 20% increase in the number of offences.
The victims in 2023 included 18 teenagers who were stabbed to death. The mayor has blamed government cuts. Ministers say he failed to recruit extra police.
They could in fact have had nearly 2,000 more police officers funded by the government had Sadiq Khan, Labour's Sadiq Khan, bothered to recruit them. They've also got record, the Metropolitan Police have record funding. It's just a shame that Sadiq Khan has failed on this issue, and that's, I'm afraid, could be a taste of what we may see to come if a Labour government gets elected.
Public health approach to knife crime is what's absolutely needed. That means identifying the sorts of causes and making those earlier interventions to prevent people from feeling the need to pick up a knife in the first place. That includes things like good, high-quality youth work. A lot of our youth centres have been closed by the Conservatives after the last decade. That's having a big impact.
The Green Party also proposes a public health approach to the problem. Reform UK's strategy includes a zero-tolerance police clampdown. Simon Harris, ITV News.
An explosion is believed to have been heard shortly before a fire at a tower block in Staines sent huge plumes of black smoke and flames into the air. The flames, which could be seen for miles, were billowing from the building, which is currently under construction. Our correspondent Simon Harris reports from the scene.
Set against the backdrop of a clear blue sky, a column of billowing black smoke and inferno of flames could be seen for miles. The fire erupted during welding work on the roof of a new residential tower block in the Surrey town of Staines. It quickly took hold as people in the street below watched.
There were about 12 feet tall flames that were actually coming out of the building itself, and it looked like the rest of the smoke was covering the town.
There was a black smoke that was really tall, like in a column, and you could see flames that were about half the height of the building. It was really dramatic.
It was just smoke billowing out. Initially there was some flames, and then as we got here the flames increased and the thick smoke increased.
The site was quickly evacuated, the operator of a tower crane reportedly making a rapid escape down the ladder. More than 40 firefighters from Surrey, London and Berkshire were scrambled, along with a fleet of ambulances. And on the hottest day of the year, people living nearby were urged to close their windows. Like most tall buildings, this block has an internal pipe system known as a dry riser. It meant water could be quickly pumped to the top floor. If that helped the fire crews, the scorching weather didn't. They had to carry their equipment up flights of stairs to the top of the building, where they were met by flames and smoke.
Really well developed, going well, lots of smoke, flames were seen. Obviously, temperatures today is really difficult, arduous conditions for the crews to work in from the onset, and then obviously faced with the developed fire.
It took fire crews around an hour to bring it under control. 4 construction workers were treated by medics after inhaling smoke. Simon Harris, ITV News, Staines.
Good evening. Immigration has been a hot topic in the election campaign, but during a debate earlier this week, the Labour leader, Keir Starmer, singled out Bangladesh as a country where illegal migrants were not being deported quickly enough. He has since faced a backlash from his own party and tried to defuse the row by highlighting what he called the strong relationship between Labour and the Bangladeshi community. But as our political correspondent Simon Harris has been finding, it's not quelling the anger felt by some.
At the moment, people coming from countries like Bangladesh are not being removed because they're not being processed.
The words of Sir Keir Starmer, and they've not gone down well in London's Bangladeshi community. At the heart of it is Whitechapel Market, where Bangladeshi heritage is worn with pride. Just around the corner, Mrs. Cannon, a veteran community activist, was holding a sale in aid of a Bangladeshi charity.
Why he said attack only Bangladeshi? We are very upset. You know, my community and everybody really upset about this.
Do you think it will affect the way people vote?
Yeah, of course, yes.
Sir Keir's comments came during a televised debate earlier this week when he was asked to clarify Labour's policy on illegal immigration. Londoners of Bangladeshi heritage make up more than a third of the population in Tower Hamlets. And for decades, Labour was able to count on Bangladeshi votes. At the last election, Tower Hamlets' 2 Labour MPs had majorities of more than 25,000. But some Labour supporters here were already furious about the party's position on Gaza. Last October, Palestine flags began to appear on lampposts across Tower Hamlets. Today, the deputy leader of the Labour group on Tower Hamlets Council resigned from the party in protest at Sir Keir's remarks.
Absolutely outrageous. It's hurt my community, it hurts my whole family, to everyone in this community who have always been loyal to the Labour Party, and outraged, and I had to kind of listen it a few times to actually believe it.
Anger at Sir Keir's comments wasn't confined to the Bangladeshi community.
I think it's absolutely outrageous. The United Kingdom has a real problem of illegal immigration. We cannot solve this by demonising any community. It's an immoral statement.
I just think the Bangladeshi community in our country have been fantastic. They've been really contribute to our economy. They run some of the best restaurants in our country, and I hope that they will vote Liberal Democrat because we're very much behind them.
The Green Party accused Sir Keir of divisive rhetoric and scapegoating migrants and asylum seekers. He tried to clarify his remarks.
All I was saying in the debate the other day was that so far as asylum returns are concerned, Bangladesh is a safe country and actually one of the countries which has a returns agreement with the UK, which is a good thing. I certainly wasn't intending to cause any concern or offence.
Tonight, the leader of the Labour group on Tower Hamlets Council said he was disappointed and suggested Sir Keir was trying to score political points on asylum and migration.
Simon, has Keir Starmer done enough to defuse this row then?
Not in some parts of London, I would suggest. We've heard a lot in this campaign about Labour's caution, its so-called Ming Vase strategy, so this does seem to be a bit of a misstep by the Labour leader. His problem is that his original answer in the debate was 40 seconds long. The clip about Bangladesh is 5 seconds long. That's what's been shared on social media. That's what's caused the backlash. Sir Keir said he didn't mean to cause an offence, but I would hazard to suggest that in private he probably regrets referencing Bangladesh.
OK, Simon, thank you.